Story 1. Close to 30, I think back to 18 and going 3 or 4 times a day with my girlfriend. Now married and with a kid, I'm lucky if it's once a week, and if I'm not too tired. Not that I don't want to, just sometimes sleep sounds better. Story 2. Damn, I was hoping the rest of you guys would say that reducing this habit is something that actually happened. I've wasted so much of my young life being unproductive that I was really hoping at some point the compulsion would subside, if only slightly. Story 3. At 47, I thought my libido dropped a year ago because of age, and even had doctors support this theory. Then I realized I was overly stressed. I made some adjustments, and now it's the same as it always was. Story 4. Look, as much as my fiancé likes to tell me I'm wrong and it's in my head, once you crest 30, things change for guys. You aren't as crazy as you were. That doesn't mean you don't care. In fact, I'd say you care far more when you actually do get serious. That is, you have to care more. You aren't just some guy who desperately wants to connect. You actually care and are there and want it for real. You aren't just some hormone-driven maniac without true desires and good intentions. I think that's a sincerely and genuinely good thing. For the record, sex gets much better with age. Like, wow. Like, you get to do the things that really connect with you and with the person you love. You've no idea how much better it all is with the person you love, entirely there, and so badly wanting them. It's an entirely different thing, and it's the best thing ever. Story 5. I am 65 here, guys, and I masturbate about once every 2 weeks. My physical sex drive has decreased, but my mental need for sex has not. After 50 years of getting naked with people, it has become a welcome habit. The major difference is that I don't have to orgasm. It is nice not to be led around by your desires. Story 6. Masturbation and pornography have been the greatest common factor preventing me from having good sex and good relationships. I usually go weeks without masturbating these days, and I am so incredibly horny all the time. It's a new feeling, looking at a woman and actually appreciating how beautiful she is and how badly I want to be intimate with her. Of course, I am also agitated and frustrated all day. Story 7. I lost interest in sex when I started having sex regularly at 25 and realized it is just okay. Not bad, but definitely not worth the effort I have to put in. Now I just have sex maybe 1 time a month or once every 2 months. When it comes to masturbation, it's not that I lost interest in it, but rather that I don't have as much time as I want and sometimes just forget about it. So it comes down to a few times a week. Story 8. Well, I'm currently 19 and I don't really have the urge anymore. Every once in a while I get it, but it's not as tempting on a daily basis. Then again, I sort of got out of this really bad depression phase that I had since the beginning of high school, and I have some really good friends now, so that's probably why. It's probably because I don't really feel the need to restore a dopamine imbalance in my mind since I now feel happy being around people who care about me. Story 9. I'm not joking. My sex drive is non-existent. I exercise and have lost a lot of weight, and I am now at a healthy weight. I have normal testosterone levels. I've done all I can, but sex is unappealing. I don't know what to do. Story 10. Right now, actually, I'm 24 and just recently married, and sex is literally the last thing on my mind. I don't have the drive anymore, and I'm overall just tired. I don't last long, can't go multiple rounds, and I can't get it up like I used to. It's really depressing, to be honest. It's not her. She's wonderful. I just hate myself a lot more lately. Story 11. Hold up, people, old man here. The following numbers include masturbation and/or sex. First of all, in my 20s all day long, no breaks needed, just give me a sweatband and some water. I'll even power through a side stitch. Would wear an abdominal binder or tape up if necessary. Not going to stop for any reason. In my 30s, see in my 20s with the exception of self-awareness. In my 40s, 2 to 3 times per week seems reasonable, but now I can skip a day or 2 if I need that to happen. In my 50s, still going strong. I am no longer controlled by my penis. I can finally win an argument. Sex drive isn't as strong. Weekly sex is satisfactory. In my 60s, I am a master of my penis. I have the final authority. My penis hasn't given up, but he just doesn't seem to want to try that hard anymore. I would bench him if I had a replacement. Wanting to have sex is stronger than sex drive. Biweekly sex is now the norm. Can actually go a week, even two sometimes, without needing sex. In my 70s, to be continued. Story 12. I'm 27 and I'll repeat what most guys here are saying, but with some additional comments. My interest and sex drive itself haven't noticeably decreased. Maybe I don't get the urges quite as often or constantly as I did when I was 14, but that rounded down in general once I got through puberty, with maybe a very gradual and minimal decline over the years. Not really enough to remark on. The real difference is self-control. The sex drive is still plenty there, really no less than it was 6 years ago, but I definitely don't let my desires do all the thinking nearly as much as I did when I was 18 or even 21. Whereas in the past I basically took all the opportunities one could get, now I actually have the experience, fortitude, and foresight to know when to pass and when to prioritize other things. It's less that your sex drive decreases so much that you can focus on other things, and more that your maturity, experience, and focus get stronger over the years and give you the tools to not act impulsively all of the time. Of course, this also takes practice, which some people don't bother trying to exercise. I know guys who are even older than me who never bothered to try exercising self-control and continue to get themselves into trouble because they don't know how to rein it in and stop thinking impulsively when it's in their best interest to do so. Story 13. I'm 57 and would probably masturbate every day but feel guilty I'm not taking care of my wife's needs. So I edge a lot, have sex with her, and masturbate the next day or two. Story 14. I am 18, and my sex drive is high as expected. I have recently stopped masturbating as the first step to improving myself. Only 5 days in, but I'm feeling better already by not doing such things. On top of that, all of that unused testosterone is being utilized to do cardio and lift weights. Story 15. So many comments here about raging teenage horniness, but I had none of that. I still don't really, and I'm 32. Please tell me there are others like me. Story 16. Like 24 or 25. Shortly after I graduated with my first degree and started working full-time. Best thing that ever happened to me in my opinion. Life is significantly less stressful and infinitely less disappointing now that I'm not dating or chasing women around. It was actually a huge weight off my shoulders. Story 1742. After a month and a half on Sertraline. The frustration is real. I can't even make myself be interested in romantic stuff anymore. The one time I was wound up enough to begin to attain a decent erection, it had to be suppressed because it would have been an awkward moment. If that ever happens, tense your leg muscles for a few seconds. But seriously, like a light switch. 1 week, no issues. Needed some self-time, fine. One day, I was feeling it had been a while since a solo flight and nothing. No thoughts, no images quickly searched, no interest. Done. So I'm stuck frustrated and wanting to enjoy it. But physically and chemically unable, a side effect of the sertraline. It's not forever. Oh well. Story 18. I'm 50 and still regularly masturbating, probably once every couple of days, and my sex drive is still very high. I attribute this to my wife being 42 and very kinky in bed. Story 19. Don't know if it's my age or if it was being lied to, cheated, and stolen from yet again. Haven't masturbated or even been aroused in almost 3 years. Honestly, the idea of sex is just flat out disgusting. Story 20. Lately, my sex drive has decreased because I keep having unpleasant sex. I don't know, I just can barely ever climax after being intimate for a while, but I can still climax when I masturbate. I don't know if I'm jaded, insecure, or just uninterested. Maybe I'm all those things, but the drive for masturbation is typically just to avoid my depression now, to be honest. God, this is the saddest comment I've ever made. Story 21. 42-year-old male here and still going strong but not quite as needy every day. I can manage 3 days without if I'm very busy. Still reckon my average is 1.2 days, maybe up from 1 days in my prime 20s and 30s. I have a new partner and we did it 15 times in one session so. Story 22. I am 57 and it has not happened yet. The one thing that has happened is that I am now attracted to women over 40. Women in their 20s and 30s are worth a look but really do nothing for me. The downside is my wife is going through menopause and has zero sex drive. Story 23. late 20s, I guess. I've never really had a high sex drive in the first place after my horny teenage years. I've been celibate for about 10 years now, and I masturbate maybe twice a week. Edit. I turn 40 in a few days. Story 24. I'm 23, but I just started to lose interest in masturbating since I decided to spend money on escorts, only to find out I'm really bad at sex, which led to a decreased sex drive. Story 25. I am 49 and still at it. It is not on my mind as much. I might go weeks without doing it and then start doing it every day, maybe twice a day, for a week, and then get interested in something else for a while. It is not the monkey on my back anymore, which is nice. Story 26. I am 30 and have been feeling this way since late January. I don't know what happened, and I'm kind of worried about losing interest so early. I don't know what I'm going to do since I'm finally ready to settle down and start the next part of my life, but I don't feel desire for anybody anymore. Story 27. 46 now and started to see a sharp decline. I started to diet, exercise, and take some stress off myself, and it's coming back to a point I'm pretty happy with. Story 28. About 20. Hey ladies, what I learned is as you hit adulthood, your estrogen levels will change, and you may need to adjust your birth control if you are on any. I had to go to a lower hormone level because it still took years for my body to regulate. Also, feminine probiotics really do work, as long as you don't buy regular probiotics. Exercise helps, and finally, this is weird now. Switch to beer. Less sugar, and I read somewhere that the body thinks beer, hops, is like hormones or birth control. I don't know about that, but I saw improvement versus wine or sugary drinks. Story 29. I am 36 years old. I still masturbate now and again, but I rarely go more than once per week at most these days. I am in a long-term relationship, which helps. That's generally the bigger indicator for me. When I'm in a long-term relationship, the masturbation goes way down, and not necessarily because I'm having sex. Relationships in the past, where the sex has not taken the place of the masturbation, usually end poorly. For better or for worse, I would say that my sex drive has definitely decreased over the past 5 to 8 years. I still enjoy it. I have sex 2 to 3 times per week, but it's hardly ever in the front of my mind anymore. Story 30. Wow, I am genuinely surprised and not at the same time. I guess it's more wishing my significant other wanted the actual more, not that he masturbates regularly anyway. He has a more depressed system, I suppose. But that whole testosterone testing has been on my mind as a suggestion. Story 31. Level 55 here. Still going strong. When I was in my late 40s, my semen volume started dropping, so I started taking supplements to boost my testosterone. Still making a mess just like I was in my 20s. As others have said, the nice thing about being older is my decisions no longer think for me. Thus, a much more peaceful and drama-free life. Story 32. I'm 64, and my girlfriend and I have pretty great sex at least once a week. Viagra is a wonderful thing. As far as masturbation goes, I'm not planning on giving that up. Ever. Story 33. Noticing it now at 34. It's not like the same level of desire isn't there, but it is heavily prioritized compared to stress and sleep needs. I find that I really desire sex once every 3 to 4 days or so when I'm stressed or tired, and 1 to 2 days when I'm fresh. Story 34. Testosterone implants or pellets. Get them. My husband has never had issues in the bedroom, but after his implants, he literally had the sex drive of an 18-year-old. Story 35. I'm 33 or maybe 34. I stopped counting. My sex drive is still strong, but I have sex only once every 2 to 3 months. My wife let herself go. We don't have children. I am in what people would consider really good shape. I get compliments and stuff. I don't cheat on her. It just sucks that she does not value me as a man. She has a high sex drive, but unfortunately, I have little desire to engage. Other aspects of our relationship are good. She is an amazing person, and I love her. I'm just really disappointed that she would not take into consideration my needs. We have talked about it, and she says she will do better, but nothing. We've been together 4 years. I still masturbate 2 to 3 times per week. Story 36. Around 25, depression and a life of no opportunity really kills the whole experience. And when showering and eating is a chore, it doesn't really seem feasible. Story 37. I am 31. It dipped for me in my late 20s. I still do it a couple of times a week, but it is more out of habit or boredom than an actual desire. I am not controlled by erections anymore. Thank God. I do not miss those days. Story 38. Extremely youthful 57 here, still active daily, along with spending time with a 21-year-old coworker, true, and she showed interest in me, and a revolving cast of lonely wives aged 40 to 60 that I meet in my line of work as a home repair technician. I also work at a big box home center and constantly see 60-year-old couples where the wife looks 45 and the man looks 75. Guys, do yourself a favor and shave, comb your hair, and stop wearing the clothes you bought in 1985. Your wives are taking great care of themselves, working hard to get men's attention, and you need to sharpen things up or she'll find a guy like me while you're golfing with buddies on Tuesdays. Word. Story 39. 60 here. The sex drive naturally decreases over time. Not much you can do about it. It is kind of nice not being distracted all the time by those thoughts. Story 40. At 24, my current age, I slowly lost interest in sex and masturbation over the course of a year in a relationship. I realized this was happening when my partner noticed I would never orgasm during sex, no matter how long it lasted. I can't even stimulate myself as I just can't, no matter what. Then I just stopped masturbating and having sex altogether. Without intimacy, your relationship fades away, and you're left wondering what is wrong with you as a human being that you can't even fully enjoy the simplest pleasure we normally take for granted.